Council. You all ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Good evening. Welcome everyone. Would you please join me in standing for the invocation? Please, dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for bringing us together on this Monday evening. We thank you for the rain. Thank you for the cooler weather. We ask for the citizens and our staff and council who came together. We ask that as we deliberate, make decisions for our town, we show humility in listening to the perspective of others, our colleagues as well as citizens. We do what is best for this town. We ask that we open up our ears and hearts to what is right and always do what is right. I pray for the council colleagues of mine, staff, and many people who work hard to run this town. With the residents, those who are will be honored here tonight. We thank you for our police, our fire, and all our staff and the service. Be with us tonight throughout our deliberations. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Please join me standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Good evening, Council, staff and members of the audience. Welcome to the Town Council for Monday, October 24. Time is 7:01. For the record, we have all council members except Mr. Egan and Mr. Allen. Both are out of town or will not be attending the council. With the 5 of the 7 council members present, we have quorum. And the time is 7:02. The first item on the agenda is introduction of new employees. I'm going to call upon Police Chief to introduce Jeffrey Stapleton, and followed by our Fire Chief to introduce Jake Reynolds. Chief.
Evening, Mayor and Council.
Evening.
I'd like to ask Jeff Stapleton and his family to come up. Jeff is our newest officer. He started a couple weeks ago, and I just wanted to read a bio on him. Officer Jeff Stapleton has 28 years of law enforcement experience, with the last 20 years in multiple supervisory capacities. He is a graduate of the Law Enforcement Management Institute of Texas at Sam Houston State University. His extensive background also includes narcotic investigations involving both state and federal cases. He has extensive training in tactical situations. He is SWAT certified and has trained law enforcement officers locally and abroad in Brazil. Prior to his law enforcement career, he spent 8 years in the military, including the first Gulf War, Operation Desert Shield, Desert Storm. His unit was attached to 2nd Marine Division, the U.S. Army's 1st Tiger Brigade, which was part of the lead element in Kuwait. Please help me welcome Officer Jeff Stapleton to the Sunnyvale family. You have to hold the sign.
It's a requirement. Thank you.
First of all, thank you for your service.
Thank you, Sister. So Dr. Sunday, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
It is good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mayor, get in.
All right.
Up there? Okay. Take this out, right?
I'll stand over here with the cool guys.
The cool guys, all right. You may be cool, but you're never the mayor in Thirdville.
Stand on this.
That's for sure.
I'll drive. They probably gave me.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Again, welcome one more time. Yeah.
Yeah. No, we got one more. Thank you so much. Thank you. One more? One more. Welcome.
Come on up, Chief Kendrick. I am all yours, sir.
Mayor and council, at this time, I also have a fireman. I'm not gonna say he's new, he's kinda old in a couple of ways, but, he's one that we have had before when we were getting really rolling, and he took a sabbatical for a little while. And, but he came back, he got back on the porch. So, it's my pleasure to welcome him back, Jake Reynolds, and bring his wife up here as well. Jake has about 19 years of EMS and fire experience as well. I believe your wife worked dispatch for a little while. See, so it's all in the deal. So.
Welcome back, Jake. It is cold, right? Hey, come on up there. You gotta be here, yeah. Short. Chief, come in. Chief. Where you going? All right, I'll come back in.
Thanks, sir. We forgot to tell him the second greatest mustache on the.
Welcome back.
Thanks, sir.
All right, moving on to the announcements and acknowledgement. Pursuant to Texas Government Code Section 551.0415, Mayor, Council, and staff may report on various items. So, Council, do you have any announcements to make? About staff? I'm assuming you have some announcements to make.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The registration for Turkey Trot is open. The race is on November 24th at 7, starts at 7:30, but line up at 7 a.m. And participants can register at townofsunnyvale.org/Turkey Trot. And then there is a link for t-shirts on that website as well.
I
And then we
signed
have
up
our
already.
Veterans Day ceremony on the 11th of November. And we've gotten quite a few veterans who have emailed me and would like to be recognized, as well as staff members.
Again, if you all know veterans from Sunnyvale, ask them to sign up. That way we can recognize them during the November 11th. It'd be pretty cool. It'd be flyover and all cool stuff.
And Mayor, just to be clear, I think the Veterans Day event starts at 6 p.m. Is that correct, Erica?
Correct.
6 p.m. on November 11th, correct? Okay. All right, thanks. And Turkey Trot starts at 9 a.m. on the Thanksgiving Day?
7. So the race lineup for the Turkey Trot is 7 a.m. and the race starts at 7:30 a.m.
7:30 a.m.
on Thanksgiving Day
Okay.
at the school.
I told somebody 9, it was 7:30 a.m. Okay. 'Cause somebody, okay. Anything else? Any other announcements? Okay, moving on to the public comment portion of the agenda. This is the time members of the audience may come forward and speak to the council on any items other than personal matters or legal matters or items on the agenda. If you'd like to come forward and speak to the council at this time, you may do so. No one is coming forward, so I'm going to close the public comments. Moving on to the recognition portion of the agenda, I'm going to call upon Chief Hawks to come forward to recognize the officer of the quarter presentation by Chief Hawks.
Mayor and council, a couple months ago I implemented a new program in the department, which was Officer of the Quarter, and that was basically just to recognize officers that show up with a good attitude, work hard, and are an example to their peers. So this will be our first one we're doing, and I'd like to present this tonight to Officer Miguel Portillo, if he'd come up here. Miguel came to us about a year ago, and he's been an outstanding officer and he a good example to his peers. And I have a little brief paragraph from Sergeant Brummett, who supervises Officer Portillo. As he says, as Officer Portillo's supervisor, I've had the privilege of working with him on shift and getting to know him. Officer Portillo has been an asset to the shift and the department in multiple different areas. Officer Portillo is always one to bring energy and excitement to the day, and he always comes in ready to hit the ground running. Officer Portillo is and has been willing to step up and assist whenever called upon, regardless of it is to assist with a call, an arrest, transporting a subject to the jail, translating for fellow officers, or assisting another agency. Officer Portillo displays the qualities of an officer sought after by the Sunnyvale Police Department. So it's my honor to present Officer of the Quarter to Officer Portillo.
You want to invite the family also to come forward?
Man, Ryan, you good there, buddy?
Yeah, please stay. Where is John? Great job. Congratulations.
Thank you, thank you.
Where's Brummett at?
You're on. Oh, you have that, okay.
Say what? No, I actually brought the plate in here.
All right. Council is back. Okay. Item number 8, proclamation. I have a proclamation to be made. Let me read the proclamation. Proclamation of the office of the mayor. Whereas municipal courts play a significant role in preserving public safety and promoting quality of life in Texas, and whereas more people come in contact with the municipal courts than all other Texas courts combined, and public impression of the Texas judicial system is largely dependent upon the public's experience in municipal court, and whereas state law authorizes a municipality to either appoint or elect a municipal judge for a term of office, the Sunnyvale Municipal Court is a state court and its judges are members of the state judiciary, and whereas the procedures for the Sunnyvale Municipal Court operations are set forth in the Texas Code of Criminal Procedure and other laws of the state of Texas, and whereas the town of Sunnyvale is committed to the notion that our legal system is based on the principle that an independent, fair, and competent judiciary will interpret and apply the laws that govern us, and that judges and court personnel should comply with the law and act in a manner that promote public confidence in the integrity and impartiality of the judiciary, and whereas Sunnyvale municipal judges are not policymakers of the town of Sunnyvale, but are bound by the law and the canons of judicial conduct, and are required to make decisions independent of the governing body of the town council, town officials and employees, and whereas the town council recognizes that the Constitution and laws of the state of Texas contain procedural safeguards in criminal cases for all defendants, including indigent defendants, and supports the Sunnyvale Municipal Code in complying with such legal requirements. Now therefore, I, Saji George, Mayor, do hereby proclaim November 7th through 11, 2022 as Municipal Code Week. Now therefore, be it further resolved that the week of November 7th through 11, 2022 is hereby recognized as Municipal Code Week in recognition of the fair and impartial justice offered to our citizens by the Municipal Court of Sunnyvale. In witness whereof I have hereto set my hand and caused the seal of the town to be affixed hereto, this, the 24th day of October 2022. If I can have Jennifer Patterson, Court Clerk, or Rachel Ramsey, Town Secretary, to come forward to receive the proclamation. Welcome to join.
You didn't want to be in on my picture?
Sometimes I just don't see you.
He didn't think he could make it on the fifth picture today.
All right, moving on to the consent agenda items, we have item number 9, 10, 11, and 12 on the consent agenda. Council, would you like to remove any of the items from the consent agenda? Okay, if not, can I have a motion to approve consent agenda items 9, 10, 11, and 12?
Motion to approve consent agenda items 9 through 12.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Freeman, second by Mr. Clark to approve item number 9 through 12. All in favor signify. All opposed, motion passed 5-0. Mr. Allen and Mr. Egan are absent. Moving on to the public hearing item of the agenda. Discuss, consider, and act upon the first reading of ordinance 2022-32, amending the future land use plan and the comprehensive plan by changing the future use for the approximately 8.8 acres on Highway 80 frontage from the front of the property roughly 1,400 feet from the town right-of-way from medium-density residential to employment. Philip?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The town's existing future land use plan was adopted as part of the town's comprehensive plan in 2017. It's important to remember that the comprehensive plan, the future land use plan, are separate from these zoning districts that we've created. The town is currently considering a request to rezone approximately 38 acres located on the southeast corner of Long Creek Road and Highway 80 frontage road. As part of that request, town has been asked to review the appropriateness of the town's comprehensive plan and specifically the future land use plan's designation of the area as medium-density residential. The current property owner and proposed developer believe the site is more suited for commercial and would fall underneath the employment commercial use of this category. And the specific zoning request is subject to a separate agenda item, but staff would recommend considering an amendment to the comprehensive plan and future land use plan prior to considering the specific development request. In reviewing alternative land use designations for the future land use plan. Staff doesn't believe that that additional residential development is appropriate in this area, given that property is cut off from any other town right-of-way except for US Highway 80. Another consideration for determining future land uses is the current land uses in proximity to the area along the same corridor. To the west of the site, at the corner of Long Creek Road and US Highway 80, the properties are zoned highway commercial. South of the properties are zoned SF4 but are cut off from accessibility due to the existing floodplain. And east of the property, fronting US Highway 80 with SF3 and SF4 zoning districts. North of the property is more Highway 80 and more land zoned highway commercial. Based on the land use categories in the comprehensive plan, adjacent land uses and site limitations, staff agrees that the most appropriate designation is employment commercial. The Planning and Zoning Commission met on October 19th, 2022 and voted 5 for and 0 against to recommend approval for this item. Staff recommends approval. Since the last time we met, the lines have shifted a little bit to the north there, so there is a little bit more of that that medium density residential like we had talked about after y'all requested that staff go back and look. That's the determination of where the line needs to be drawn for this map amendment.
So which way the line moved again? Can you?
So the way that it sits right now, you see the right angle directly underneath where Long Creek Crossing turns there.
Yeah. Okay,
So let me see. So
you don't have a map. Okay, that's fine.
I don't have a map on me. So the property lines existing for the other properties there basically designate where the line is now for that highway or employment commercial and medium density residential lines exist. That right angle there on the west side is where that line goes directly across. Underneath that, where it is employment commercial, is that change of 8.8 acres that we're seeing.
Okay. Is that it, Philip?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me open up for public comments. At this time, if anyone from the members of the audience would like to come forward and speak to the council on item number 13, you may do so. No one is coming forward from the chamber, so I'm going to close the public comments. Council, do you have any questions or questions for staff or discussions on this topic? The applicant here, would you like to come forward and say something? No. Okay. You're good? I'm sorry? There's no applicant for this one, right? That's the town comprehensive plan.
Yes.
Thank you. Council, any questions or comments or discussions on this topic? Okay, if there are none, I call for a motion, right, number 13.
Motion to approve item number 13 as presented.
Second. Motion made by Mr. Freeman, second by Mr. Finch to approve item number 13 as presented. Everyone heard the motion. Are there additional discussions? All in favor signify. All opposed, motion passed. 5-0, Mr. Allen and Mr. Egan are absent. Moving on to item number 14, Mr. Ellergy is going to excuse himself. Thank you, sir. Item number 14, discuss, consider, and act upon the first reading of ordinance 2022-33, changing the zoning on one property totaling 38.205 acres, located generally at 536 Long Creek Road and 600 US Highway 80 from highway commercial and single family for SF4 to a planned development, allowing for indoor and outdoor boat storage, brewery or distillery, bulk material sales and storage, contracted shop, contracted storage yard, food processing and storage, furniture repair and upholstery shop, gym or health fitness center, research and scientific laboratory, riding academy or a Christian center, self-storage security, and mini warehouse, indoor and outdoor vehicle storage facility, warehouse, winery and woodworking and planing mill with alternative development standards. Philip?
Yes, sir. The request before you tonight is for a property located at 536 Long Creek Road and 600 US Highway 80, consisting of roughly 38 acres. The applicant's request is to rezone the property from highway commercial and SF4 to that planned development district with 3 sub-districts. These 3 subject districts being requested are highway commercial and single family 4 based. The highway commercial track 3, as you see here, sub-district would extend from the front of the property to roughly 1,400 feet back. This area would allow for all allowable uses by right within the highway commercial zoning district as amended. In addition to these uses, the following are being requested by the applicant to be allowed by right. Indoor boat storage, brewery and distillery, bulk material sales and storage, contractor shop, contractor storage yard, furniture repair and upholstering, gym or health fitness center, self-storage security and mini warehouse, indoor vehicle storage facilities, warehouse and woodworking and planing mill uses. The applicant is also requesting that the following be allowed to be permitted with a special use permit to be reviewed by the town council at a later date, in which they would have to bring forward a site plan to be approved with that SUP. These uses include food processing and storage, research and scientific laboratory, as well as winery. The highway commercial tract 1 sub-district will be applicable to the new portion of the highway commercial area as described in the picture shown here. In the sub-district, uses would be allowed as they would typically be allowed in the general highway commercial zoning district. In addition to these uses described in tract 3 sub-district, the following are being requested by the applicant to be allowed by right: outdoor boat storage and outdoor vehicle storage facility. Tract 2 here is going to be a base zoning of SF4, and the applicant is asking for the rights to bring back a riding academy or equestrian center use, at which time for a site plan approval and SUP from y'all. Currently, the Riding Academy Equestrian Center use is allowed in Single Family 1 and Single Family 2 zoning district by SUP, and the applicant is requesting this to be allowed by right within this sub-district on this property. Do y'all have any questions regarding the tracks?
Let me come back to you.
Okay.
Let me open up for public comments. For the record, we have one resident located at 534 Long Creek Road. His name is Troy Smith. Oh, is that you, sir? Come on in, sir. Sorry.
Smith, 534 Long Creek Road. I own property just to the west, on the north side of their property, and it's zoned highway commercial. It's never been used for commercial. There was a house on it, 70 or 80-year-old house. I tore it down a few years ago. I had planned to build another house there. I didn't really see any prospect for developing commercial on one skinny, long acre. And
Robert, can you point out to me, sir, where is your property located?
yeah, it's actually, they've got it they've got a border around it. That black line,
Yeah, okay.
that's my property.
Gotcha. And how big is that?
It's 1 acre.
Okay.
And I didn't really see anything good prospect for it other than a house. But I don't have a problem with them expanding and making use of their property. I was just hoping that there could be a fence in between there. Since mine's zoned highway commercial, I don't think they're required to have any screening. And there's I think 3 of their buildings, 30 feet from the property line. And on part of it, there's some bamboo and stuff where, they don't have to just look into the backyard, but the rest of it, you can just see right over there. And there's a gravel driveway that they drive down through there, and the contractors usually park there because it's really not adequate parking. And I see that they put 28 spaces, but those aren't close to those buildings. And so realistically, the people aren't going to park there. They're going to park right next to the building they're renting, which is right there by my yard. So I'm just wanting to see if they could put some kind of a screening. I'd be fine with that, especially with the VSF. You got a lot of cars, and that opens it up to wrecked cars, impounded cars, you know, and I don't know if they're gonna do that, but I think the possibility's there if they're granted permission. And I don't have a problem with that, I'd like there to be some kind of a fence there, some kind of screening.
I think what they said is indoor vehicle storage facilities, what they have.
Up until roughly this point here, where his property ends, I believe is where track 1 would begin. And basically, everything would be required to be indoor on this front portion here. Outdoor storage would have to be. Sorry about that. Outdoor storage would have to be screened to the requirements of the ordinance as well, which it's an 8-foot tall by minimum board-on-board cedar
Between
fence.
between the property lines?
Not between the property lines, just for outdoor storage, which would include all of this area here, those backyards that you see within this concept plan.
I don't want to speak for you, but I think I'm reading through it, you're worried about the trash and all flying over to your property. Is that your
Yeah, that was
concern?
another thing that
Dumpster.
they repainted everything and ripped the fence down. It was just a barbed wire fence, old fence, but I called the owner and said, hey, why'd you rip the fence down? He said, I sold the property. So I was like, oh, okay. So I don't know the new owners, but when they tore that fence down, it made all the trash from their contractors that were, I guess, already renting from the previous owner. You know, it foam and it blows over, then you mow, and it's just a pain. But I started putting limbs there to try to keep the trash from blowing over or something. I figured they were going to put a fence up since they started painting and stuff, but I don't know if they plan to. Maybe they do plan to. I didn't see it in the plan, so.
We can ask in a second here. We got the applicant.
Yeah, I just wanted to.
Is that a requirement at all? That's not a requirement, right? Okay.
And there's 3 shops right
No, sir,
there.
not
and
between.
if the contractor shops are allowed to do granite, which is fine, but if they're cutting the granite and all that, it's literally 30 feet from my property line. It'd be nice to have some kind of screening, you know. I know it's zoned highway commercial now, but, you know, if I build anything, it's gonna be a house, not a jack-in-the-box or something, you know. It's not gonna be, it's just too skinny and long of a property to do, really. And I'd have to get a special permit to even build a house. It's too narrow of a lot.
Yeah. Okay. All right, sir. Anything else, sir?
No, that's it.
I do have a question for you. So your intention is possibly building a house on that lot?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and it's zoned properly for him to build a house on that lot? Again, with, you know, setbacks and whatnot, we would have to take a look at it, but it is zoned for that
So
currently?
currently it is zoned highway commercial.
It's been zoned like that for years and
Okay.
years, but
Years
there's an
and years.
old,
Residential is not allowed.
yeah, there's an old house on it, and I bought the house, and then it just got dilapidated. I tore it down.
Got it, yeah.
And then they told me, hey, to build a new one, you're gonna have to get it changed to a residential.
Got it.
Well, that's fine. We'll probably do it, and you'd probably get the permit too, to, you know, for the variance on the width, not being wide enough.
Brenda, you
Not enough
going
road frontage.
to say something, ma'am? Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Stick around and you can listen to the applicant, sir. Okay. Anyone else from the members' audience would like to come and speak to the council? Okay, I'm gonna open up for, I'm gonna close the public comments. Council, I'm gonna open up for your discussions or questions.
I guess we're gonna have the applicant come.
I was going to, but I thought
Okay, that's-
you had some questions. Okay. The applicant would like to come forward and speak to the council.
Justin Ruggiano, 140 Brentwood, Heath, Texas.
Good evening, sir.
Derek Salser, 129 North Collins Road, Sunnyvale.
Good evening, sir. Would you like to add anything? Would you like to address the concern for the applicant? Is that something?
In the new planned development, all the contractor shops, if they have any kind of outdoor material that could blow to the adjacent properties, it has to be fenced and screened by that 8-foot fence that Philip's talking about. There won't be any outdoor vehicle storage in the front part that's adjacent to the property that we were just talking about. We are aware that there are contractors in those current buildings that they've got some trash that's blown over to the property that we just mentioned. But in this new ordinance that we're proposing, that will be contained and wrangled, or whatever the word is, that we don't want trash blowing to the neighbor.
Yeah. And I know you want me to speak in the microphone, but I believe a lot of the trash that you're getting is probably from building 3. And he's got the air filter shop right there, and then in the corner he has this open area where they sometimes store filters. So as soon as this is approved, he will be required to fence that area, which would probably keep it contained.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think it fits it all better.
Anything else?
No, only that after the last time we presented this, you guys told us to go back and work with the town staff. So we worked with Philip and Burton. We spent a couple hours going through the UDO, which everybody loves. 142 possible uses that could go on this property. And after a couple hours of looking through every single one, the list that Philip read just a minute ago is what we all came to a consensus about. So that's what you're getting presented tonight.
One question I have, the SF4, again, that's being as residential, just always trip me up, right? And your goal is to put an equestrian.
I don't think there's a goal for that, but it is certainly a use that I think makes sense back there. If you're trying to find what you're going to do with floodplain property.
I just wonder why you kept it as SF4.
Well, it's already SF4.
Okay.
So, I mean, the PD is just,
It's,
right?
there's no, you can't, it's a 500-year floodplain there?
I don't know,
It's
500,
unbuildable.
100. It's just a unique use, along with the winery and other things that we thought might make sense, and just in our discussions with the staff.
Okay.
And no one has to do that, but I think it is a creative use for land that otherwise might just be pecan trees forever, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah. Mr. Freeman?
So I definitely appreciate you guys putting in the work and coming to, these actually specific uses. I have an issue with 3 of these. Winery, brewery, distillery. How close are they to a residential house from where they're at? And is that something that I personally don't have an issue with? I mean, I know what breweries look like these days. I know what wineries look like these days. I've actually been to a distillery that's nice. I could live with a brewery or winery. I'm not sure a distillery is something that I'm comfortable with to begin with. But knowing that there are residences that are on that street, how close are they going to be in proximity to a brewery or any general place that sells alcohol? And is that something that we're concerned about?
So they would have to follow the TABC requirements and apply for a permit through them. They would also have to adhere to the current UDO requirements as far as distances between property lines.
Mm-hmm. Do we have any idea of what those are currently, and would this actually meet those guidelines?
I do not.
Because here's the thing,
currently.
because if
I know what they are.
okay, go ahead, please.
It's 300 feet from door to door to a school or a church. But I don't know that it speaks to a house or a
It
apartment.
doesn't speak directly to a house.
What she said. But if you want to estimate the footage, Philip has his fancy scale over there probably. The closest point that we could put a building that would have those uses in it to a house, my architectural estimation is at least 300 feet or more.
Yeah. I think this comes back to me with this whole by right issue, and I do not feel comfortable with a distillery being able to be there indefinitely by right.
Specifically those items.
The brewery I'm okay with, the winery I can live with, but a distillery
We didn't
I'm
want
not.
it to be permitted by right. We wanted that special.
So,
Was it SUP? I thought winery was SUP, was special use permit.
no,
It was by right?
no. The winery is by special use. You are correct, but the brewery or distillery
Old
is by
brewery
right.
distillery wanted to,
We can add that to SUP if you
SUP?
would like.
So you'd have to come back and get it approved before it ever went in. And you guys would be okay with that? Okay.
That's what it
We don't
was.
have any idea or
Yeah,
time
and
frame
that's,
of any
that,
kind
that's
of
honestly, it's my
brewery.
biggest concern, is that
We're fine with that.
we do it by
being-
right, and then 20 years down the road, you guys, you know, someone wants to come in, pay crazy money for it, and then next thing you know, they just build, you know, all-out alcohol distribution center right there, and we can't do anything to stop it.
Understood.
Any other comments or questions for the applicant?
No,
Just a
thank
quick-
you guys.
Quick
So
clarification.
Was it two separate items or just one brewery or distillery in one?
I mean, so me personally, I'm okay with, I mean, the distillery, in and of itself, I would like to be in the SUP. If you guys would be willing to put the brewery and distillery there, that would be great, just so we have the final say if you guys decide to go that direction.
I'm good with that.
Okay.
You good with the both?
I believe it's under one category, but yes, I'm
Yeah.
good with both.
Anything alcohol related.
Yeah.
Okay, anything
Put it
alcohol
under
related would have to
SUP.
be under SUP. Awesome.
Mr. Finch, have a comment, sir?
Nope, good.
Mr. Clark, have anything?
No, I'm good with that.
Anything else?
Yes, sir.
So the only comment I heard is the brewery and distillery needs to be under SUP. Everything else they asked for by right, council seems to be good with it. Okay, anything else? Okay, thanks for working with us, appreciate you. I know it took a lot of time back and forth. Philip, anything else, sir?
No, sir.
Okay, Jeff, anything? You're good, right?
Do we need a motion?
Yeah, if we're done with the discussions here, give me a second, Kevin. Can I have a motion with respect to item number 14, please?
Motion to approve item number 14 with changes discussed, removing alcohol-related items to the SUP.
Motion made by Mr. Clark. Do I have a second by Mr. Freeman to approve item number 14, with the exception of brewery or distillery, which will be moved to SUP? Everyone heard the motion. Are there additional discussions? All in favor signify. All opposed, motion pass. 4, Mr. Finch, Mr. Clark, Mr. Freeman, and Mr. George supporting it. Mr. Eldridge has excused himself. Mr. Allen and Mr. Egan are absent.
Mayor George, can I make a suggestion?
Yes, sir.
Seeming as how number item 17, Mr. Eldridge has to remove himself from as well, can we skip to that one in the agenda so we don't have to go back and forth?
If
with
that
him?
pleases you, yes, sir, absolutely.
Yeah, if you guys are okay with that, so we don't have to have him keep going back and forth?
We can
Okay,
do that, yeah.
excellent.
Let me take, I'm going to jump up to the discussion action item portion. Item number 17, discuss consent act upon amending the construction manager at risk contract with the Byrne Construction Services to include the Trip Road Trail Connection Project. That'd be you. That'd be Burton or?
Mayor and
Jeff,
council, I'm going to
sir.
ask Burton Barr to present this, and then I have a couple of comments at the conclusion of his presentation before council opens it up to questions.
Yes, sir. Burton?
We're going to pull up a PowerPoint presentation. I guess I'll go ahead and start, and then I'll finish while Burton does the middle part. Mayor and council, this was brought to my attention that there was an existing plan some time ago to connect the Spring Lake Estates subdivision to the trail that follows along the western border of the Falls subdivision. That subdivision is built out. That trail connection was never made. I had a resident from that subdivision inquire 3 or 4 weeks ago of me what the status of that was. I was not aware of that project. But the feasibility of making that connection happen now is marginal at best, frankly. And it just so happened that we were working with Byrne Construction, our construction manager at risk, on the horse barn and fire station project, which included in that project was to go ahead and connect a trail along Jobson to the fire station, but it was going to dead end there on the eastern edge of the fire station property. So the reason that this is kind of appears to be a last-minute project request is just because of some information that came to light since I started as the town manager here, and I guess a very small window of opportunity to utilize some economies of scale from our Byrne construction manager at risk contract, and some of the competitive bidding that they achieved as part of that. So there's a small window of opportunity before that project is complete, which has necessitated a fairly expedited decision-making process on this project. So I'll have asked Burton to go ahead and give you a full overview of what staff is recommending.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The item before you, as our town manager pointed out, is amending the construction manager at risk contract with Byrne Construction Services to include the Trip Road Trail Connection project. In October 2021, the town had applied for a grant through Texas Parks and Wildlife. Ultimately, we were not recommended for funding. However, I'll just show you some site photos here. If y'all want to see any of these, just tell me to stop. So this trail connection would add approximately 2,045 linear feet of trail. It also would add approximately 1,615 linear feet of pipe fencing. The trail connection would be 8 foot wide from Spring Lake Estates and the falls. That's the existing width. I believe it'll be 7 foot around the fire station, and some planned drainage improvements would prevent standing water on the trail. Those are the 4 neighborhoods: Spring Lake Estates, the Falls, Stony Creek, and Homestead. The areas in yellow there would be the new addition, but that linkage there would allow all those different neighborhoods to be connected. Project is estimated not to exceed $430,000, and concrete for the trail, pipe fencing, drainage, landscape. There's also a 7% contingency. So just a few more things about this. This was presented to, I guess first and foremost, it was presented to the 4B Economic Development Board at the October 11th meeting. They recommended that we bring this project back to them at the November meeting, hold a public hearing, and approve the trail connection and related funding as a new project. Just want to point out, as a part of the construction manager at risk process, bids for all the trades and materials have already been competitively bid. We know that utilizing economies of scale, favorable pricing related to construction of the fire station, a minimum of 10% cost savings would be anticipated, since there would not be any additional mobilization charges. Texas Local Government Code requires at least 1 public hearing to undertake a project, and the funds cannot be expended until 60 days after the specific project has been published in the local paper. A notice of the public hearing for this project will be published in the Sunday, October 30th, 2022 edition of the Mesquite News. Staff recommends that Town Council authorize a $430,000 increase to the guaranteed maximum price in the contract between Byrne Construction Services and the Town of Sunnyvale for the Town of Sunnyvale Fire Station Horse Barn Facility Project.
And Mayor, I'll just add, just as an update to that dollar amount, at work session just about an hour ago, one of the suggestions was made to go ahead and extend the pipe rail fence, the metal pipe rail fence, on the eastern edge of the Horse Barn property, abutting the Falls subdivision to provide a more uniform look. I don't have the exact unit measurement to give you an exact cost and what that would be, but I think we would probably estimate that to be an additional $30,000, and there is a 7% contingency. So if council is inclined to go ahead and extend that fencing on the eastern edge, I'd suggest to increase the recommended amount to $460,000 as opposed to the $430,000. Again, there is a 7% contingency in there. I think that should be adequate to cover that cost, but we'll have to verify that with the contractor. I feel like that would be a comfortable amount, and I do believe we should still hopefully have some savings. So the $460 increase in the guaranteed maximum price should be a not to exceed amount.
Okay, thanks. Let me open up for public comments. If anyone from the members of the audience would like to speak to the council on item number 17, you may come forward. No one is coming forward, so I'm going to close the public comments. Question 1 for, I know it's been discussed in the 4B as a 430, but now it's in the council, so we should be able to take a number higher than with additional scope, right? Yes. There should not be a problem at all, right? Okay. Council, any question for staff? Mr. Clark?
Right. Do we know why we did not get the grant?
I mean, not specifically. It's always competitive when you're talking about grants. This was the small community local park, so ours was more of a trail connection grant application, whereas some other municipalities may have actually been developing full-blown park. So may just be, in the scoring criteria, maybe some of those other projects reviewed as more community benefit versus this one being more specific to Sunnyvale. So.
Right, okay, no, thank you. I'm glad we're doing this, or at least we're going to discuss and vote on it, but this is something that I personally am very excited about. We've been talking about this for a long time, so thank you for all the hard work on getting this before us.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. Let me open up for discussion, council discussions, item number 17. Mr. Fidget, any comments, sir? Mr. Freeman? Okay, if there are none, I call for a motion. Council, keep in mind that 460 as opposed to 430, please.
I'd like to make a motion on item number 17 to make an amendment to the manager risk contract with Byrne Construction and increase it by $460,000 for this trail that we've discussed.
So, motion made by Mr. Freeman to approve item number 17 with the added scope of pipe rail for the extended trail area for a cost not to exceed $460,000.
Second.
Mr. Clark, second by Mr. Clark. Everyone heard the motion. All in favor signify. All opposed, motion passed 4-0. Mr. Finch, Mr. Clark, Mr. Freeman, and George supporting, and no one against. Mr. Eldridge has excused himself. Mr. Egan and Mr. Allen are out of town, or not in the meeting. Moving on to item number 15, Jeff, I think Mr. Jones, we tabled that topic for the next item, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Council, do we need a motion for that, Brenda?
Yes.
Can I have a motion to table item number 15 until the first meeting in November, which will be 14th November?
Motion to table item
15
till the first meeting November 14th.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Clark to table item number 15 until the first meeting in November on November 14th. You have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Freeman. Everyone heard the motion. The additional discussions. All in favor signify. All opposed, motion passed 5-0. Mr. Egan and Mr. Allen are out. Moving on to item number 16, discuss, consider, and act upon ordinance 2022-34, adopting a water resource and emergency management plan for the town of Sunnyvale to promote responsible use of water and to provide for penalties and/or the disconnection of water service for non-compliance with the provisions of the water resource and emergency management plan. That be Mr. Creed. How are you, sir?
Yep, Mayor and Council. So this is just an update of our drought contingency plan. The TCQ requires that every 5 years we review and update it. I couldn't find the last update, which should have been done in late 2018. So this is just a cleanup to adopt this ordinance so I can start working on our update that's supposed to be due by 2023. There's no changes to what is already existing. I just needed to get an adoption of the ordinance in place. It's the exact same thing we've had since 2011.
Okay, let me open up for public comments on item number 16. nobody's coming forward, so we close the public comments. Brian, maybe I misunderstood the whole thing, and I read through it. Are we saying that if the citizens violate that, the water usage, they can be fined $2,000 and the service can be disconnected? Seems to be too harsh.
That is what is allowed by law. Our ordinance is not that strict. I'll go back and make sure that, I don't think this sets a $2,000 requirement in there. I think
It's
up
a
to,
section
okay.
2, right, on page?
So the municipal court judge sets the actual fine, but for a health safety violation, which this would be, the statutory limit is $2,000.
So that's,
It's not mandatory. It says up to. It's the max.
That's the max.
It's just the maximum. I'm not aware of a court on any first or second offense even has gotten close to $2,000.
yeah, they're just going to shut someone's water off because they sprinkle more water, right?
Yes, sir.
You're not, right?
We haven't been enforcing by turning any water off. No, sir. We've just been educational only.
Yeah, I understand we had to have rules, but boy,
Yes, sir. No, it was just showing, like the town attorney said, it's just demonstrating what they can be fined.
Okay.
But it's not necessarily.
Mr. Jones, you have a comment,
I
sir?
think with our current staffing workloads, I think right now the public education and self-monitoring is the approach that we've taken at this point, as opposed to the enforcement side. But certainly that's an option for those violators who refuse to comply after they've been noticed a violation.
Okay, I just want to make sure it's a small town, we treat people right.
Yes, sir.
And, I understand the rules. Okay, got it. Council, additional discussions on this topic? Raise your hands, I ask you to move to the discussion side. It scared me a little bit when I saw that. Okay, if there are no other discussions, can I have a motion with item number 16, please?
Motion to approve.
Second?
Motion made by Mr. Eldridge and second by Mr. Clark to approve item number 16 as presented. Everyone heard the motion. Are there additional discussions? All in favor signify. All opposed, motion passed 5-0. Mr. Egan, Mr. Allen are absent. Moving on to item number 18, council and mayor request. Jeff, just want to remind about the Garland sewer smell issue. I know you're working to get them on, but let's just get that over here quickly, please. Are there additional staff agenda items? We that's right. While we're eating dinner, we are working hard, right? Okay, any other agenda items? Okay, moving on to the item number 19. Can I have a motion to adjourn into executive session? There are two items, section number 551.071, consultation with attorney, legal advice related to code compliance, and item number 20, 551.074, personnel matters, town manager.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn into executive session pursuant to section 551.071 and section 551.074.
Motion made by Mr. Freeman. Do you have a second?
Second.
Second by Eldridge to adjourn to executive session. All in favor signify. All opposed, motion passed 5-0, 7:58. We are in executive session. Okay, now time is